everybody, it's Whitney from All the Shelves. Today I am filming an update on what I've been reading this weekend. It's been like a really great reading weekend so far, so I wanted to show you what I've gotten through and what I am in the middle of right now. The first thing that I read this weekend was on my Kindle, so I don't have a copy to show you, but I read Christine by Stephen King. I had never read this before. I'm kind of like a spotty Stephen King fan. I would say that I've read maybe like more than the average reader, but I'm not one of those people that reads the Stephen King book that comes out every year, or I feel like he has like 7 or 8 books that come out each year. He's very prolific, but I finally read Christine, which I really liked. There were parts of it that I loved. Like, I really loved the metaphor associated with like a boy coming of age and falling in love with a car, like a symbol of mobility, and how ironically it turns out to be something that traps him into one place and completely erases his identity. That was really cool. And I had seen the movie and I wasn't that impressed by the movie, so there was something about the book where I was picking up those metaphors a little bit more, or it felt like a little more serious. Like, I don't know how you make a book about a car that's possessed kind of serious, but I felt like it worked out. It was actually a little bit creepy. The one thing that I didn't like about it is the thing that I tend to not like about most Stephen King books that I read. And for me, this is kind of a major complaint because it really prevents me from loving Stephen King as much as I think that I would as this like pulpy genre master. But he has never, as far as I am concerned, gotten women right. He always has female characters that are doing things, but they're falling like so short of what I think a female really would do in that situation. So I'm gonna kind of spoil Christine just a tiny little bit, so if you want to skip ahead like a minute. But the thing that I really didn't like about this novel is that there is a girlfriend type character, and when I say girlfriend type, really that's the only thing that defines her. And since the book is from the point of view of teenage boys, I was willing to forgive it that. But then when her behavior starts complying with teenage boys' perspectives of her, that's when I felt like the perspective wasn't being critical at all. At the end, there is a scene where the boy has like a broken leg, and every time he tries to hit the pedal of his car, the clutch of his car, and he like screams out in pain or whatever, and she's just sitting in the passenger seat, and their excuse for her just not exchanging places with him is she doesn't know how to drive a clutch. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe, but everyone in a situation like this could probably learn how to drive a clutch pretty quickly. She could at least be the one in the driver's seat pressing the clutch, and then he could be shifting the gears for her if really she can't figure out the gear shift. But it was shit like that that was just like driving me crazy. And the same thing happened in The Stand, which is like my issue with The Stand that completely prevented me from enjoying that novel at all, which is like immediately when signs of danger present themselves, women revert to very traditional gender roles. The men were already there, and lots of times the women will be like career women or you know, doing things actually without men, but then as soon as something happens, they, you know, consult with their husbands or boyfriends, and they become like really background players, and it drives me insane. So I know Christine was a story about a teenage boy becoming a man or whatever, but I didn't appreciate like the woman being like completely unrealistically relegated to the sidelines on that. The other thing that I finished this weekend was Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen and the American Tradition. I will be talking about this in a couple weeks when I do my top 5 Springsteen books, because his autobiography is coming out. It's going to be awesome. I just found out it's 500 pages and it's going to be like deeply personal, and I'm going to read it in a day. I know that I won't be able to like go to work that day. I have it pre-ordered already, and hopefully it will be on my doorstep on September 27th. But in preparation for that, I read this book, which is now one of my very favorite Springsteen books. It's just very deep and academic and talked about things that I hadn't quite articulated in the way that Jim Cullen does. But like I said, I will get to this in that top 5 list. I'm reading 2 books right now, and one of them is Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather. This I'm reading with Kate Howe. She has a YouTube channel that you should check out, and I will link down below. And she invited me to buddy read this with her, and we're only a little bit into it, 81 pages into it, but they're like few words on each page. And at first it was really hard for me to get into. Willa Cather for me has always been somebody that I immediately understand the tone that she's taking and the kind of beautiful pacing that she has. It feels slow, but there's also enough human stuff going on that I could really like grasp onto these characters immediately. But in this novel, it was about like priests and bishops and archbishops and whatever, and I'm not Catholic and I'm not religious, so there's a part of me, I think, that immediately just shuts down when that kind of hierarchy is being discussed in detail. So the first like 50 pages or so about like the priest actually showing up in New Mexico where they are, which was Mexico at the time, I was not enjoying. But then I got into the second part after about 50 pages, and the last 30 pages I have just adored. I really love the story of priests in Mexico. I don't know, but there have been so many books that I have loved that story. Or just like white people going down to Mexico is like a trope that I like. Like I love The Crossing and All the Pretty Horses, and I love the Graham Greene novels with that setting. So I don't know what it is about that, but I just like love that setting. So I'm looking forward to continuing reading this. It's going to be slow. We're only reading a part a day and there's 9 parts. So I'll get back to you on this one. And the last book I want to talk about is Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes. I started this morning. I loved the reading experience of You. And I say the reading experience because I recognize that it's not a great book. There's like a whole lot of really ridiculous coincidences in that book and kind of like unrealistic technological expectations. Like the main character in that can just find everything that he wants online without much trouble at all. And yeah, you can stalk online, but I think we've all of us internet stalker people have had some trouble finding things sometimes, and that never happens to this guy. Anyway, You, not great, but I loved the reading experience. I was on a plane, it went by so fast. I was on my Kindle and it was like as fast as I could press the little button, I was reading it. And I read it in basically one sitting. I read it on the flight from Salt Lake City to Virginia Beach. So I immediately went to the library and got this one because I knew that it was going to be so much fun. And with the job transition that I've been going through, I've been really wanting fun books, as you can tell by me reading Christine as well. And this one so far has not disappointed. These books are so smutty. Like they're full of smut and terrible, but like the best insults and like curse words that I would never put together, but are so creative. So I'm liking that one a lot. It's not one that I would like recommend in good conscience unless I really knew the person that I was recommending it to, and I knew that they wouldn't judge me really harshly for recommending them this book, but it is like really fun. I feel like it'd be like the quintessential beach read. So that's it for reading and me this weekend. It's been great. My stomach was hurting all day yesterday, so I just laid down and read, which, you know, is like a real silver lining for me. I don't mind that. If I'm gonna be in pain, might as well be in pain, surrounded by a stack of books. So I hope that you guys are having a good reading weekend, and I will talk to you later.